Okay. So if you're hanging around, this is the thing about, dry skin or wrinkled skin, and it afflicts many people. And especially as you age, as you get older, this seems to creep itself in. But is there any kind, what do people do, and what is the kind of solution that we can use? And is there any secret so that I can get this a lot better, or, probably remove it altogether? So stay tuned. Okay. Now, one of the biggest causes, or some of the biggest causes, of your skin not looking as great as it did when you were in your teens or your early 20s is definitely age. As you get older, you're not going to expect that your skin is going to be as radiant and as deadly as it was when you were a teenager. Very similar to your leather bag. Okay. After 10 or 20 years, your leather bag is not going to look, or even your leather shoes or anything. So skin has definitely is your protective barrier in many ways, and it has to take a lot of beating from your environment. Harsh sunlight, UVA, UVB rays, pollution, uh, chemicals, and you actually subject yourself to soaps, and some of the soaps are not so great, and they don't always give you, they say your skin is radiant and all of that, but not essentially always. Okay. And the wrong soaps, the wrong detergents, the wrong kind of water can really, add to these problems. So it's what I'd collectively call a harsh environment. The other thing is not having an appropriate amount of nutrients in your diet. Okay. So those of you who are following the dynamic vitality program, you'd understand that how this plays into, everything into your life. Your nutrition is, or what nutrients you get. I mean, let's not use the word nutrition, becomes too formal. But this kind of food that you eat influences what happens in your body. Okay. And of course, today's world, we have what we call dehydration. Suddenly it gets extremely hot, and suddenly it gets extremely cold, suddenly it's humid, suddenly it's dry. We've got to face a lot of stuff when we are living our lives out. And dehydration can be caused not only by sunlight, but if you get extremely dry air, sometimes air conditioners by themselves, extensively used, can reduce a lot of moisture in your skin. And of course, the habit of drinking water or fluids is also important. And in today's day and age, while we are all caught up in the rat race, sometimes what happens is we just forget to have water. We just learn, our body learns to, kind of live like we're in the desert. Okay. So dehydration is a very strong factor. So you can see these little images out here. You can see, the kind of food you eat: burger versus broccoli. Okay. Now, here's what people do: you use moisturizers. Now, I'd ask you to be a little careful about the kind of moisturizer you're using, because a lot of them contain alcohol. Okay. So, while it's a good habit to moisturize, but look at the back of the label of that particular product and see if you find any alcohol in it. Okay. This can actually, dehydrate your skin. That alcohol actually dehydrates you. And what happens is whatever you've rubbed into your hand, into your face, somehow gets into the bloodstream, and it finds its way to the liver. Now, not a very good way to consume alcohol, I'd say. There are more pleasant ways to do it. But nevertheless, uh, alcohol does find its way, because the liver will be the one that has to process it. Okay. Now, some people use alternatives. You can use, coconut oil. Castor oil is an extremely good vehicle for this. Tallow, vitamin E based foods, vitamin E based oils, these are also good. But somehow, you find that, there is, on the surface, things seem to be happening. But you must remember that this kind of dehydration actually doesn't go, is not like what you call skin deep. It goes a little deeper. So we have to look at something that which might be more effective in getting a little deeper into your skin. Okay. And Here's one particular component which is naturally occurring, and it's called hyaluronic acid. Now, don't worry, this is not some kind of harsh chemical, and it's definitely not a chemical in it, say that it is, uh, how do you say it comes out of a factory. No, the cells in your body actually help you make this. Okay, it is an extremely important, vital part of your entire system of your body, and your cells actually produce this. Now, where is it found? More finally lands up, it lands up in the, in your skin. It's there in your joints as well. Can you believe it? It's there in your joints. It's not just your skin. Now, the fact about this is that it can hold 1,000 times its volume in water. So you can say it's like the big sponge of the body that keeps that hydration going. Okay. So finally, it becomes a kind of a suit around your entire body. So what happens is it's kind of like your scuba gear for you. Okay. Not only that, it helps heal wounds. If you get sunburned, let's say you run out into the beach and you get a lot of sunburns and things like that, this actually helps cure that part of the skin that's got burnt out. Now, it is also extremely essential in the parts of your body that have cartilage. So this is kind of a fuel for it. It's something that the cartilage also requires. Now, it also acts because of the fluids that are there, and in your joints, it acts as shock absorbers. So it's not only your muscles that have to play a lot of roles in your tensor activity, it also helps to absorb the shock. It's not just the muscles. So these things are there around to help you do this. Now, vitamin A helps. And if you have a vitamin A deficiency, this can also lower your hyaluronic acid in your body. So vitamin A deficiency is something that is not typically there everywhere, but sometimes some people may be deficient because of certain chronic problems. Could be a genetic problem. Sometimes you just don't have that in your diet, but it certainly is important to have this with you. Now, aging definitely plays a factor, and as you get older, you know what happens by the age of 80, you just lose about 80% of your hyaluronic acid, and you're left with only about 3.6 grams in your body. And probably at the age of around 40, 45, this is a little better. It's about 17%. But I'm just saying, when you hit the age of 45, it starts to reduce quite drastically. So it is important that you start to pay attention to this, especially if you're getting into this age range. This is something you can't ignore. Now, dry eye is a big symptom. If you have dry eye, or if you have patchy skin, or it's cracking skin, this can be a sign that a lot of your hyaluronic acid is low, and probably you might have maybe a slight deficiency in vitamin A, and a lot of the other things, like a you know, good diet with nutrients in it. So how can you get this? How can you do? How can you get this into your system? Now, definitely one short way is to use a supplement. Now, don't go overboard. If you happen to get your hands on this, don't try to limit it to 200 mg a day. Do not think that more is better. What will happen is that you will start getting uh, excess water accumulation, and it will land up in places where you don't want it to. And there's a whole regime to get. So don't be over ambitious and try to take too much. 200 mg a day in terms of supplement is great. And if you're taking a supplement, try and get a cream that has hyaluronic acid in it. A lot of creams nowadays, you would actually find that. And of course, make sure there is no alcohol content in it. So if you can get your hands on that, rub it on your hands and rub it on your face, and that's it. Now, it's important to have the right kind of nutrient diet. As you would have mastered yourself here in the dynamic vitality model, you would have understood what is these components that you require to have in your diet. So, but people actually take more advanced steps, and they actually use a surgical treatment. People get injections. Some people get micro needling with hyaluronic acid. You can see here's a typical example of somebody getting needled with hyaluronic acid, and you can see there is a tremendous amount of difference in the way the appearance of the skin looks. Okay. Now, this is not something where you do it once uh, and it's going to stay there forever. Now, this is something you have to keep replenishing. Now, while these seem to be a little bit, kind of more than routine, you've got to do a lot of stuff. So, can we get this from our food? Yeah, no, this is a very interesting. Yes, food can definitely help you get that. And the number one food for hyaluronic acid is the good old banana. Okay, so all monkeys, please go for your bananas. This is extremely important. Now, things like tofu, soya based meals also have a lot of hyaluronic acid. Green leafy vegetables, kale, broccoli, get that into your diet. Sweet potatoes, okay? Sweet potatoes are far better than probably your regular potato because it has extremely a lot of fiber. And don't worry too much about the sugar. You don't have to eat kilos of it. You just have to eat uh, maybe what 100 grams or, you know, 50 grams of it. You can just boil it and eat it. Excellent food to have. All the kinds of beans and pulses are a good, are not exactly containing hyaluronic acid, but they contain uh, other elements like manganese, zinc, and things like that, which actually help the body produce more hyaluronic acid. Bone broth is a good thing to have once in a while if you are non-vegetarian. And organ meats, especially things like liver, do contain help you boost up the generation of hyaluronic acid in your body. Yeah, because of these trace elements, the phytonutrients that are there, or the phytonutrients, as maybe, sorry, correct me, it might be that, will actually promote the amount of hyaluronic acid the body generates. Almonds, cashews, and of course, for good news, and as we come up again, dark chocolate. Okay, dark chocolate, when I say dark chocolate, means 70% and above. And hopefully, there's not too much of sugar content in it. And if you can get yourself directly with some cocoa, uh, just the same way you'd make coffee, you can just make a cocoa drink and try not to add sugar if you can, if possible. And that also stimulates the amount of hyaluronic acid. So I hope you found this topic interesting, and I hope at least you will reach out for the banana whenever you can, and see if you can get at least some creams, uh, moisturizers that have more hyaluronic acid and don't have alcohol in it, and try it. Of course, this is something you have to do in probably a daily regime. And as you get older, it's more important that you keep an eye out for these things and continue to do it. So, uh, for those of you who are here, remember the last laugh is for all those who are following the dynamic vitality model. And all we do here is try to empower ourselves so that our body is empowered to live a more energetic life.